get sidetracked by what the results give you, because the results are simply the answers to your answers. That's it, right? So if it's a little bit like if you haven't played a lot of sport, and you go on there, and the sports master at school is kind of like, well, are you better at football? Are you better at basketball? I really don't know. It's like, well, let's give you a go, right? And you give it a go. It's like, it looks like you're a bit better at football. We haven't played too much sport, but it's like, well, it looks like football's your sport. It's like, okay, so I play a bit of football, but then you don't play too much of it, and then you try it again, and then basketball, you're a bit better or maybe you're basketball. And really what's happening is that because you're not actually in flow yet in any of them, it almost feels like they're almost interchangeable. The reality is, until you actually decide on one, and you get good at that one, you're never going to be in a situation where you can get good at anything, right? Because at the end of the day, the world-class sports players focus at that sport, which is how they got so good at it. So what I always find is that people that are just getting started often will come out as different things, so they're just not sure because they haven't got into flow enough to really know. Those who are in flow never have a question about it, never, right? The ones that are actually out there getting the results and in flow, it's like, yeah, I'm totally a creator, or definitely this makes sense that I'm a deal maker. So just be aware of that. And so it is about which one actually makes most sense to you, that you go, that's the one. So it's not about being put in the box, it's about a pathway. Knowing that unless you focus on one pathway and say no to the other ones, you're always going to get stuck. So for you, for example, you'd be in a situation where it's like, well, support would mean that if I got into a team with others where they were creating, where I didn't have to be the one up kind of like doing all the promotion and I could support the team, that I would be able to get into my flow doing that. But if I'm suddenly kind of like jumping out of that and then going out and doing the promotion and not spending as much time with the team, I'm doing more of the star role than the supporter role, well then I wouldn't feel so excited doing that, right? Or vice versa. Or if actually I'm again stepping away from the team, I'm spending more time getting into partnerships and working with others, knowing that the team will take care of those once I've actually pulled those in place and I'm more in the deal maker mode, I'd be much happier doing that. Once you decide, then you know where your place will be and you can start actually looking at role models within that area to grow as well.
It makes sense because I work with a creator, she works with me 3 days a week. And when I was in the star mode, there was too much crossover.
Right.
So I think the deal maker makes sense. That's why I moved there because I needed to.
So if you feel it makes sense, right? You're just not actually so sure. So would you guys like to, just as a matter of interest, when we're a little bit confused as to what you are, would you be interested in actually seeing, when we take someone like Fee, what her actual real profile is? Would that be interesting for you to see? Yeah. Right, so I'm going to do it in 2 different ways, right? Because there's a whole bunch of different ways you can do it. And again, if you are one of our flow consultants, you get trained in this. But what I'm going to do is 2 different ways. First one is just by asking a couple of simple questions, right? So the first question would be, let's imagine you're in a situation where an emergency is happening, right? What kind of industry are you in right now?
Property.
Property, okay. So emergency is happening, right? Like an earthquake's happening. All the properties are falling down. Big emergency. Okay, so you're in this situation. People need help, right? So there's certain people that are going to need help in some form. At the same time as that, a new plan needs to be put together. Right? Because at the end of the day, like we've got to figure out and help the people that are there, but we've also got a plan we need to pull it together in some way. And really, you need to join one of the teams to be of most value, right? If you're going to help with others, you're going to get into the team, you're going to get out there, the people that need that help, you're going to provide that help, knowing someone else is figuring out the plan. But if you're actually in the planning team, you're actually there creating the plan, designing that, which of those 2 would you feel you'd be most value and actually most in flow doing? The planning. You were right into that route straight away, say that's the one I'm going for, right? Okay. Second question is, if you then are in the planning team, and while you're in that planning team, the real focus now is whether or not you're going to actually stay with the team that's actually going to finish up the master plan, or whether or not you're going to go with another part of the team that's going to the parts of the country where you're going to actually find out what those guys are doing and get some of those people in a partnership to bring them back in while they're actually putting the master plan together. And now you have to choose out of those 2 teams, which one would you want to be in?
I'll be out in the road.
You'd want to be out of the road. So that's like really quick decision as well, right? Both those questions, all I'm really doing at this point is I'm really focusing not at the primary profile, I'm focusing at the secondary profile, right? Because secondaries take care of themselves really easily. So the secondary profile of a trader of a deal maker is a trader. That's the person that's going to go out there and get hands-on and get responsive. So the first question, which is, would you rather go planning, which is a creator, which is secondary to start, or would you rather be the trader? These are right out of the edges. Now I'm taking the most extremes. Would you rather be a creator or a trader? But you go straight away, I'd rather be the creator, which means she's going to be either the star or supporter more than the deal maker, actually, right? Because that whole tempo side isn't where you naturally immediately go. And again, this is where you just naturally go and you answer the question real fast, right? And I'm using directional questions. The second question, which is then, okay, so I know it's not either going to be star or supporter, and so I'm going to ask the second question. And the second question is going to be, okay, so now you're in the planning team. which is the creator, would you rather stay in the creator role or go into the deal maker role? Because your creator is secondary to star, the deal maker is secondary to supporter. So I'm not asking at any point a question about being a star or being a supporter. I'm asking the secondaries. And she was very quick to say, I'd definitely be the one who'd be out there, doing the deals, which means she's a supporter profile, right? So that's your natural supporter profile.